Starting now. Good evening and welcome to round 2 of the Motorsport South Africa Cup 2025. We are 1 week down with 9 to go, and it was TNR Chaz that took the checkered flag first in our season opener of the MSA Cup with a phenomenal display of driving perfection to take the early lead in the championship. Will Chaz be able to defend his position at the top, or will we see a new contender enter the fray come the end of the night? Well, I'm Flawed Genius Gaming, and I'll be taking you through the next couple of hours to see how this round unfolds. So strap yourselves in, as this will be a ferocious and exhilarating race. I have a feeling this one will be full of tension as the championship begins to heat up. But joining me once again for this journey, I have the mercurial talent of a certain Scotsman who just so happens to have the fastest lips north of the border. Of course, I am speaking about Hugh Hattrick. Good evening, Hugh, and how are you?
Good evening, Sean, and good evening to all our viewers out there. I'm very well, thank you. Yes, I have the fastest lips north of the border here in sunny Kernick. But yes, it's fantastic to be here tonight. Looking forward to a great race. And the Porsche Caymans, they're fast, they're furious, and this race, I'm sure, will keep us very busy indeed. But having a fantastic time and looking forward to tonight's race.
Yes, indeed. I think this one could be absolutely spectacular. But before we get into the race details and everything you need to know, the MSA Cup 2025 is sponsored by Simulator Cave, South Africa's haven for all your sim racing equipment, selling only the highest recommended products from the likes of Fanatec and Moser, as well as racing cockpits for that perfect driving experience. Contact JP for all his helpful and friendly advice, and if you're still not convinced, book yourself a tour of the shop and test drive many of their sim rigs available so you get the full sim experience, leaving behind any doubts. Link is in the description below. And also sponsored by TGSC Cape Town Golf Academy, the hotbed of nurturing young potential to golfing greatness. An academy with a breadth of history of producing talent on the world stage. If you feel you have what it takes to become South Africa's next Ernie Els, TGSC is certainly the place to be. Thank you so much to these two sponsors, our official sponsors for the 2025 season of the MSA Cup. And we are also in association of the world governing body, the FIA, and South Africa's governing body of all motorsport, Motorsport South Africa, the only place for official GT7 leagues on behalf of South Africa and Sim Motorsport Association, growing the sport together. Please contact Robin Williams, our MSA GT7 promoter, for further details. Email links will be in the description below and on our YouTube home page. So let's take a recap on the rest of the season in the MSA Cup 2025. So with our SAS coming and going, today we see us in the hilly forests of Switzerland for our round 2 race at the Forest Raceway. Following on to next week, however, sees us fly across the pond to the first of our trio of US locations. We go to Southern America for the world famous circuit of Road Atlanta, presenting a new car in the form of the Peugeot RCZ Group 3. This will be a one-make race on the 23rd of June, which then follows a trip up the East Coast to New York for the equally famous Watkins Glen at the end of June, which will also be featuring the Peugeot RCZ one-make race. This will then be followed by the third and final leg of our US tour as we fly to the West Coast for our special event at Laguna Seca, with the car yet to be announced on the 7th of July. Round 6 sees us back in Europe for the beautiful sunny beaches of Croatia, but don't get too comfortable as this place hosts one of the deadliest chicanes known to man. It is of course Dragon Trail Seaside for our new one-make race featuring the Nissan GT-R 2018 car, which will be held on the 14th of July. Then the following week on the 21st see us take a long flight to Asia for Japan at the Super GT haven of Autopolis, also featuring the Nissan GT-R Group 3 car. Then it's back to Europe for the final time as we head to Spielberg, Austria for the visit of the Red Bull Ring using the Mercedes AMG 2020 car. That is the Group 3 car, the final Group 3 one-make series of the championship to be held on the 28th of July before a short journey east across to neighbouring Italy for the Cathedral of Speed. That's right, we are in Monza as we complete the AMG one-make series, for which brings us to the grand finale of the MSA Cup in our special event at Le Mans. Car still to be decided, but will be held on August the 11th, which will declare our new champion for the 2025 season of the GT7 Motorsport South Africa Cup. So that is the roadmap for this season, but what have we got for tonight's race? Hugh, please fill us in with all the details, please.
Well, we're at Deep Forest, which is a great track. I think it's probably one of all the drivers who play GT7. I think this is one of the favourite tracks. We get it quite a lot on the multiplayer most months in different formulas and combinations. But tonight we are in the Deep Forest going clockwise. Its distance is 4.25 kilometres, and as you said earlier, it's in Switzerland in the thickly wooded forest, with the back straight running along a cliff edge. Like many original circuits, it incorporates several tunnels, and due to the high-speed nature of this track, sports cars focusing on raw power are best suited for this course. And of course we've got 18 turns. It's actually anti-clockwise in direction at 4.2 kilometres in length, and we're using the Porsche Cayman, a great car that showed us just how competitive it is, and with some great drivers tonight it's going to be very close indeed. We're going to have a qualifying session of 10 minutes. It's a grid start with a false start check. The tyre wear is ×4, fuel consumption is ×4, refueling speed is 7, and the number of laps are 32. So lots happening there out tonight as well. They've got to use the tyres that are required are the softs, the racing softs and the racing hard, but you can use the medium as well. It just doesn't count. So you're going to have to use either maybe perhaps a one-stop or a two-stop, but certainly it's going to be very interesting for the strategy, and also you might have to fuel save. There's lots of interesting points coming up, but back over to you, Sean.
Thank you, Hugh. So let's take a look at our lineup for Tier 1 this evening, as well as the points leaderboard after one round. So it is TNR Papaya Racer that leads the championship with 400 points, who produced a dominant display in our season opener to claim his first victory of the season and lead by 5 points over VSR Richard, who produced a tactical masterclass to finish in second place ahead of teammate VSR Wolfie, who himself made a great recovery from quali to finish in third with 391 points. Then it's VSR Fish, who led from the front due to his impressive qualifying showing, grabbed pole position and was looking good for a podium finish, but his tyres diminished in the latter part of the race and had to settle for fourth, but still has 388 points. Promoted into fifth is MGR Kennels with 386 points. This is due to Levitius receiving a one-place grid penalty for an infringement in the last round, relegating him into sixth position. Promoted into seventh is Puma Neil with 382 points. This is after VSR Gilla received a two-place grid penalty for his part in an altercation with another driver. Gilla is now demoted to eighth. Puma Nutcap, our 14-year-old wonder kid, produced a solid display to book himself another crack on Tier 1 with a 9th position and has 378 points, with VSR JDJ just behind in 10th with 376 points, who did well to claw back positions from his initial bad start to the race and remain in Tier 1 for this week. Our last survivor for Tier 1 this week was KLM Pace, who initially finished in the drop zone but was promoted to 11th due to a penalty handed to TNR Latari, as a consequence relegating him into Tier 2 for this week. Then in steps 3 new drivers from Tier 2 who were promoted due to VSR Nitro Merlin winning the Tier 2 race last time out. He's joined 11th place on 375 points. In 13th is second placed Tier 2 finisher TNR Panic Potato with 370 points, and lastly 14th is third place Tier 2 finisher, not easy to say, MGR Dutchman with 366 points to round off a very competitive Tier 1 grid for our race today. So here's a recap for the format of the first half of this season. We have a promotion and relegation system in each of the 4 tiers. Top 3 drivers from each race in tiers 2 to 4 will be promoted to the above tier for the next race. Bottom 3, 12th, 13th and 14th will be demoted to the tier below. After race 5, the final determined tier position will be based on your total logged points, with the dropped round included, meaning the worst round will be deducted from your final logged points. This will then determine which tier you will race in for the rest of the season. So just as a brief example is that in Tier 2, P1 was VSR Nitro Merlin, P2 was TNR Panic Potato, and P3 was MGR Dutchman. So they got promoted into Tier 1, and P12 was Latari, P13 was Rusty, and P14 was Jensen. So they find themselves into Tier 2 for this week. So hopefully everyone understands. But best of luck to all the drivers competing today and the whole of the MSA Cup 2025. Drivers are literally just running their final checks ahead of this 10-minute qualifier to kick things off in our second race of the season. We will join them on track in a few moments' time. Right, so it looks like we're still in practice at the moment, awaiting the qualifying session, the 10-minute qualifying we have for the race here at Deep Forest in round 2 of the MSA Cup. But Hugh, how are the drivers looking out there?
Well, it's very close indeed, and as we started our broadcast tonight, I was quite amazed actually. I was going to try and take a screenshot because the top 3 drivers, it was Chaz at the time, and then Levitius, and I think it was possibly JDJ, were literally 0.047 apart from each other. Every bit, every recording of the timing was just 0.0047. I thought, wow, that's incredibly close to be matched exactly in the top 3 positions. I had to kind of look at that twice. But no, it's very, very close indeed. Chaz has been leading for quite a while, but now Kennels has done a very quick lap as they finish off their practice session. But Levitis isn't far away, and he's going to be desperate to do a good time tonight, I think, because of his bit of a disastrous race from last week. But that just means it was very close, so it's looking very exciting. I can't wait for qualifying to start, and let's see the pace that these drivers have tonight.
Yes, indeed, and we definitely need to keep an eye on a few of the new drivers tonight as well. So TNR Panic Potato, for example, was promoted from Tier 2. He grabbed second position in the race at Alsace, and well, I've had the opportunity to race against him in a few races, and I have to say, this guy is quick. I was actually quite surprised to see him in Tier 2 for the first week, but it's good to see him in Tier 1 for this week, and we'll see if he can mix it up with the big boys. Now, as you mentioned to you, this circuit is quite a number of drivers' favourites, I think. This is certainly one of my favourites, and I feel like it's really going to entice a very close race, and very much a race based on strategy and you know, making your opportunity stick and going at the right times too. So we'll see how they get on here, Hugh. But any driver out there in particular that you're favouring?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, they're all very, very fast indeed. When I watched, I know they were doing a few practice races earlier in the week. I was very impressed with Neil. He was doing well at the time that I was watching him. And also when we did our own race a few days ago, it was quite interesting that you know that there's a balance of fuel saving as well as using the right tyres at the right time. Some people were going to do the hard tyres, maybe try and get maybe 15 or 16 laps out of them and then go on to the softs. But can they make it last? Because the soft tyre doesn't go that far. Well, certainly not in my case anyway. I know you guys are much better on getting your tyres to last. But it's going to be very interesting. They're going to have to be careful that they don't push maybe too hard on the certain tyres. I think we're going to definitely see Wolfie do well. Chaz is right up there. And of course we've got Fish as well. He was on pole position last week. But can we get Levitius? What will he do? Will he pull out a surprise again and dominate up at the top? All those top four drivers, in fact, really, I mean, this is Tier 1, they're all incredibly competitive. I think there's going to be next to nothing in the qualifying session. And here with the slipstream, especially with that slipstream and two big hairpins, I think that's where we're going to see many, many lunges and last-minute attempts to overtake.
Indeed, yeah. This is definitely a particular circuit that's very difficult to call who is going to come out on top, because we've got 14 formidable drivers here, Hugh, and anyone on their day I feel like that can pull it out of the bag. So we did have, for example, we had Chaz, Richard and Wolfie as our top three last week. But it could be very different this week, and Levitius perhaps probably feeling a little bit disappointed with his results from last week, so he'll be trying to come back with a vengeance. But then you could speak of many a driver. You could speak of Puma Nutcap. He could be very strong around here and looking to try to really mix it up with everyone and see his true talent. We'll have to wait and see. Neil is another one of them drivers I feel like could be his day, because maybe we didn't see the best of him last week, although he did get a solid result nevertheless. But then of course you've got the newbies as well. You've got Dutchman, who's just joined us, and I do believe it's the first time he's been involved in a Tier 1 race for the SMA. So I'm waiting in anticipation, it's fair to say, Hugh, on how the drivers do get on here, and yeah, absolutely can't wait.
Yes, I think as well with this car, I was going to say it's possible that you know, when you brake correctly in this car, it does help you turn a little bit too. So there's lots of nice little niches on the course that give you that little bit of edge, and if you can get that right, then hopefully it won't take too much out of your tyres, and you'll be able to do a good performance. So lots of things to take into account. I have to say I was blown away by you guys doing the race and just how much strategy I was basically just racing. You guys were thinking and racing. So that's, I think, the thing to watch out for tonight. How many drivers can be drawn into the perfect strategy, and who will maybe just race and not actually you know, see beyond it. This is going to be an interesting challenge for the drivers to see who can really come out on top tonight. But here we go, we're going to start the qualifying session.
Indeed we are. So a 10-minute qualifying session ahead of a 32-lap race here at Deep Forest Raceway. So it looks like the VSR drivers are out in force. In fact, the top 5 drivers coming out of the pit lane first. So we will definitely ride on board with one of the VSR drivers. I just wonder who's going to lead the pack away, because it looks like Gilla is the one leading away. but it will be interesting to see who out of the VSR drivers are the strongest. Now, JDJ, he did get 10th position last time out. Now, JDJ, we know he's seriously quick. Got a little bit unlucky at Alsace, was involved in a bit of a pile-up, and did well to rescue his race to finish in the top 10 to remain in Tier 1. But I've got a feeling JDJ is certainly going to be a driver up there for sure, and we've seen it many a time in the SMA GT500 Championship, where he was always a force to be reckoned with. So we'll see if he really has got the pace at Deep Forest, but in fact I think probably we'll get on board with JDJ for a lap around Deep Forest. But what are your thoughts on this racetrack, Hugh? Is this a particular favourite of yours? Is this a particular circuit that you're strong at?
Yes, I do like it, and it's very flowing. I like the kind of the camber is more in your favour, I think, than not, and especially that big turn one hairpin, and then as you go through the kind of S's, it's so tricky, but it's quite satisfying. And all the tunnels, the first tunnel seems to be quite straightforward. The second tunnel seems to catch me out a little bit. I think it's hard to not take in too much speed and get a really good exit out of there. But no, lots of really nice challenging, and it's quite short, so you get round it quite quickly, and then it's another kind of straight flat out again to try and do another lap of Deep Forest. But yeah, it's a big challenge. I think these cars are greatly suited to the circuit, and it means that there's not, well, there is obviously time to be gained, but there's, I think, very little in it. These guys are very competitive, so we're going to see lots of overtakes. I think again the drivers might be relying a little bit on mistakes from the person in front to really get a good overtake or a good clean overtake, because there is a bit of slipstream in there, but then everyone's got the same thing, a bit like DRS in Formula 1, isn't it? You get a bit of a train. So it's going to be very interesting to see who can really get the perfect lap, because you can use a lot of curves here as well, which is quite nice, and straight line many of the corners as much as you can. So I can't wait to see them all come through, and I'll be back over to you, Sean.
Thank you, Hugh. Thank you, Hugh. Well, JDJ just taking on board the hairpin. So this is the flat out section of Deep Forest Raceway, and we'll see what kind of benchmark he can set here. So typically the lap times were in the 34 range, but as he comes across the line now, he sets a 1 minute 35.0, which VSR Richard onto pole position, then 1 minute 34.7. And in fact, Panic Potato takes the, well, I said he took the early pole, but Levitius has now replaced him onto pole position with a 1 minute 34.4, just 1/100th of a second quicker than Panic Potato in second position. So the TNR drivers certainly having a good start in this one, because Chaz is also in third position as well, just 2/10 down on teammate Levitius. So certainly it seems like TNR have got something up their sleeve for this one, but this is certainly the early part of qualifying queue with 6 minutes to go.
Yes, it's looking very strong there with that 134.459, but just 0.018 seconds ahead of Panic Potato, and then off onto Chaz in third place. But it is very, very close as we go through the field there, and it's going to be interesting to see, can anyone beat that time, or will it be Levitius who can keep it going? But they're only just into 4 minutes 30 seconds of qualifying, so there is a good bit of time to go. In fact, Panic Potato has just pulled out of doing a lap there, so they come to complete their second qualifying lap, and some are going back into the pits. JDJ is going back into the pits. In fact, quite a few drivers are coming in, and they'll get fresh tyres, because even just a couple of laps on the racing softs and it's game over, isn't it? They're losing a bit of speed there, so they want fresh tyres as much as possible. So they're coming in there, but Levitius at the moment is leading.
Indeed, yeah. Wolfie did go a little bit quicker, and Giller did also go a little bit quicker. He was up to 9th, but then dropped down to 10th because Neil replaced him, and I think Nutcap as well, up into P8 as well. So, yeah, the times are very, very close. We are talking 1 second separating the top 11 drivers. Nitro Merlin's in P12, and Fish is in 13th. I do believe we are missing one driver, but I'm just trying to figure out who that is, actually. Who in this list are we missing? Oh, it's Kaelin Pace. Kaelin Pace is the one that's missing tonight. Okay, oh, that's bad luck. That is. Hopefully, it's not internet issues. Maybe he was a little bit busy, but it does mean that he will inherit 14th position for the relegation into Tier 2 for next week. So a little bit unfortunate. It does mean though 12th and 13th will be the positions to get relegated today. So everyone will be looking to finish outside of that drop zone so that they remain in Tier 1 for next week. But at the moment, yes, Levitius is on pole position then. He's got that slipstream over Paddy Potato, but I think that is his out lap. So maybe just jostling for position so that they can set a hot lap. But I don't think there's anyone that I can see that is on a hot lap. Neil's just come into the pits as well. Giller is on an out lap. Dutchman's on an out lap. So it looks like they're just about getting on to their hot laps now. Now certainly somebody here, VSR Nitro Merlin, first time in Tier 1, came from Tier 2 from last week, won the race in Tier 2 last week as well. He'll be looking for better things, currently in 12th position now, but he'll be looking to try and pull this one out of the bag and try to qualify a bit further up the grid. But I'm definitely interested to see how this driver gets on here and whether or not he has got the pedigree to mix it up with some of the fastest in Tier 1. Fish as well. Fish currently 13th, which is a bit of a shock. He got pole position at Alsace in the qualifying session in round 1. Currently in last position, or 13th position, so he'll be looking for bigger things in this qualifying session, as we've got about 2.5 minutes left of this qualifying session. Levitius has just picked up a penalty, but he is pole position right now, plus Panic Potato, so they may just be able to get one more lap in to see if they can extend their gap at the top of the grid. That does present an opportunity for Chaz, who is in 3rd position, who is just under 2/10 down on pole sitter Levitius. Richard comes into the pits, and in P4 it looks like he's settling for that position with VSR Wolfie as well. Looks like he's settled for that 7th position. So let's look on board with JDJ then. JDJ is just about to come across the line now. Can he improve? No, he can't. He slows down, so remains in P5 for the time being. Kennels in 6th position right now, 6/10 down on Levitius with a 1:35.0. And then we got Nutcap also. Oh, he's got a penalty. I think that is going to cost him here. I don't think he's going to get another lap in, as far as I know, but he's in 8th position right now. Neil, however, just starting his hot lap. Giller is at the early stage of his lap. Dutchman is also at the early stage of his lap, currently in 11th position. Nitro Merlin looks like he's settling for 12th position, and he'll be starting on the hard tyres. So interesting call there, Hugh.
Yeah, because I started on the hard tyres, but you've got to make them last. It can work, but I wonder maybe if the medium might be slightly better. But maybe is he going to try and do a one-stop and go as long as he can, try and get maybe 18 or 20 laps on the hard tyre, and then switch to the softs. It's going to be interesting. Can he make that last 12 laps out of on the soft tyre? That will be a real challenge. But I've been watching Chaz, who's again not far away, and he is still on his lap there. Or no, he's come back into the pit, so he has settled for 3rd place. So Levitius at the moment looking very strong, but as you say, the top drivers at the top, even 13 drivers, are covered by just over a second, which is very competitive indeed. In fact, it's only P12, there's a bit of a further gap, but 1.4 seconds regarding the whole field is pretty decent, and many of them are now going. In fact, Levidius is going onto the medium tyre along with Chaz as well. So that's very interesting. So they might have to do 2 stops then if they're going to do the medium tyre to start with that. But what they've done their 10 minutes. They're on their final lap now. Can anyone make a change?
Or can Neil go quicker? Yes, he can. Up into 7th position with a 1:35.0. So improving by a couple of tenths and propelling himself up 2 positions as well. Okay, so just confirmation of the qualifying results then. So Levidius back onto pole position then with a 1:34.459, just a hundredth separating him to Panic Potato in 2nd position. Then we've got Chaz in 3rd position, just 2 tenths behind the TNR lot there, with VSR. Are we just getting started here? Hold on a minute.
I think they've just made a few changes.
Okay. I had a heart attack there. Unfortunately, I can't read the qualifying results though. So hopefully everyone got their they got all the positions there, but it looks like well, the host is going to sort out the grid in qualifying order anyway, so we will find out this way, but just a little bit unfortunate there. So let's just say a quick hello to everyone in chat then. Good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Do make sure, if you are new to the channel, do hit that subscribe button, and if you are here for well, not the first time, then please do hit the like button, which really does help out this channel to spread the content across the globe. But welcome in Mammy, welcome in Parquet, Kennels, of course, good luck to you in the race. Rob G. Barker, welcome. Ryan Stocks, Alan Nater, Noah, we've got Ant in here, we've got Captain Slow in here, absolute legends, we've got Stephen in here, and Panic Potato as well. Good luck to him in the race as well. No, that's not what I want. There we go. And we've got Latari in here as well. Of course, Latari was tier 1 last time out. Latari, let us know how you got on in your race today in tier 2. Hopefully we'll see you back in tier 1 in due course. We've got Dean Henning in here, some Mags, they've come out in their droves, with CJ in here, and Ricky Rez Racer, and Z GTR and Mbappe as well. Good evening to all of you. Let us know how you got on in your races today, because of course it's not just about tier 1, it's all about the other tiers as well, tier 2, 3 and 4. 4 tiers competing in the MSA Cup for this season. So let us know how you guys got on. But yeah, we should be starting very shortly. I do believe that KLM Pace, who wasn't in qualifying, I think he is going to be starting from the back of the grid, which means he gets a late pass into the race, which is good to see. And you know, good luck to him, and see hopefully if he can grab a good result for him. But he has got it all to do from the back of the grid though, Hugh.
Yes, but at least thankfully he's made it in time, because here you never know what can happen if you get, you know, if people get caught up in an accident. There could be a lot of places to make up in the field, and he could well get right up the field as well. We saw that great run by Levidius in the early part of the race last week, where he'd been up many places in the first couple of laps. So yeah, it's going to be very close. They're choosing their tyres. We're seeing them change all the time. Neil, for example, is using the hard tyre, but Kennels is on the medium. Nobody, as far as I can see, has used the soft tyre yet. I'm looking through them all to see if anyone does, but no, it seems to be the hards and the mediums that they're choosing for the start of the race. So yeah, can they stretch out those hard tyres, or will they be a good bit quicker on the mediums? Because there was a good bit of tyre difference. But here we go. I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Hugh. Okay, right, so the drivers just lining up now then. We've got Levitius, who will be starting on the front row with teammate Panic Potato, who of course got promoted from Tier 2 last time out. So we've got 5 red lights. Lights are out and away we go. And it looks like it's a very good start from Chaz, as he looked like he got a much better pull away than his compatriot Panic Potato. He's got the inside line. Looks like he is going to settle into P3 with VSR Richard in 4th and Kennels in P5. VSR JDJ side by side with him in 6th position, with Nutcap up 1 position to P7 then, ahead of Puma Racing Neil, who's down into 8th position. We've got Wolfie in 9th position with Giller in 10th and Vars in the P11. Dutchman P12 side by side with Ken Dog. Ken Dog is KLM Pace, I do believe. So Ken Dog up 2 positions already into 12th position, who is on the medium tyres. It does look like some of the drivers are starting on the hard tyres, including Dutchman and Nitro Merlin. But let's go back to the top of the grid then. Levitius leads the train of cars down the straight now. The gap is just under 4/10 of a second from Panic Potato. Then Chaz in P3 as well. They're all on the medium tyres. Richards is actually on the hard tyres, who is now side by side with Kennels. Looks like Kennels has got the inside line to take that position away from Richard and move up into 4th position with a very clean pass. Kennels, of course, on the medium tyres as well, so Richard will be quite slow at this stage of the race, but Richard currently holding firm in 5th position ahead of JDJ, who is also on the hard tyres in 6th position. Nutcap is up into 7th position, as mentioned, who is also on the hard tyres ahead of Puma Racing Neil, also on the hard tyres. It looks like we've got a 3-way battle for P8 then, as Wolfie did look to try one up the inside, and he can still go for the inside move, but backs out of it for the time being. Oh my god, then there's a bit of a collision between Neil and I don't know if Nutcap was involved or not. We have saved the replay, so we will have a look at that very, very shortly. But it looks like Nutcap is able to get away. Giller up 2 positions then into 8th position. Wolfie just behind in 9th, and Puma Racing Neil down into 10th position now, with Dutchman breathing down his neck as well in 11th position. It looks like Fish has moved up a position with KLM Pace down into P13 again, with a certain Nitro Merlin all over his back bumper as well in a 14th position. Let's have a quick look on the replay though and see exactly what happened between these drivers. So it was Giller just behind. Let's look on his cockpit view here, and it looked like, oh, that was a weird one. That was quite a weird one there. I'm not exactly sure what happened there, to be honest.
Can I quickly bump in? When I was actually watching it from Neil's onboard there, and just as Wolfie had gone past him earlier, and also earlier as he went into, it was Nutcap. It looked like Neil just went into him on the first hairpin, just touched him a wee bit and pushed him a little bit wide, and that allowed Wolfie to catch right up.
Right, okay. Do wonder whether or not I can re-look on that replay again, just to see if we can get the on board. So let's right, okay, yeah, Neil did hit him, and then it was a domino effect behind, as oh, he gets a little bit squeezed actually, Neil, on the outside from Giller and Wolfie, but yeah, that was a bit of a contentious moment, I have to say, but can happen around here too.
And Panic Potato takes the lead. He's got past Levitius.
Right, okay. That is definitely a turn up for the books. Hugh, do you want to explain how this happened? I've got the replay of it as well.
I was watching the replay of your one as you were doing it, and I suddenly saw it change, and Panic Potato got into the first place. But it looks like it's been the early part of the lap when he's got back. He's just a 10th ahead of Levitius. It looks like Levitius is coming right back at him. He's, yes, in the slipstream, just a 10th behind as they come into the final hairpin at the end of the lap. And coming round, but he still managed to hold it well. But oh, Chaz and Levitius are very close, almost touching there. But they come down into down the hill into the right-hander, then the left-hander. But Panic Potato is in the lead.
He is indeed, he is indeed. Okay, let's look further afield. It does look like Levitius might have the run on him here before we get into turn one here. He's got the inside line. Looks like he's going to power past Panic Potato then to move up into the race lead. Kennels looks like he's challenging from behind as well. And oh my God, got late on the brakes and nearly into the back of Panic Potato. Just about got on the accuracy time as there's a bit of a wiggle in the background from Panic Potato where it looked like there was a tiny bit of contact or maybe just getting a little bit squirrely as he exited turn one, but luckily there was not enough contact where they didn't lose any time. Panic Potato still in second position, Chaz in third, but Kennels sniffing the rear side of Chaz like glue. So we'll see if Kennels can challenge him or not, but certainly the top four looking rather close right now, but we will circle through the grid as well. So we've got Richard 2.2 seconds behind in fifth position, but he's on the hard tyres. VSR JDJ looks like he's just picked up a half a second penalty for cutting track limits there, so a 0.5 second penalty to be served in the next lap. We've got Nutcap in at seventh position then, who's looking like he may actually steal that position away from JDJ once he serves that penalty. But we've got Giller about a second behind in eighth position. VSR Wolfie about the same gap behind in ninth position. Then we got Puma Racing, Neil and Tev, and it looks like Kendog or Kalen Pace is starting to make up positions here because he's starting to close in on the back of Neil then. He is on the softer of the compounds on the medium tyres, so you would expect him to be a little bit more competitive at this part of the races. It looks like Fish has got the inside line to Dutchman to move up into 12th position. Dutchman down to 13th with Nitro Merlin just behind in 14th, although Dutchman got a good speed out of the exit and he's going to challenge Fish for that 12th position. And a slight bit of contact as well between the two drivers. Dutchman went a little bit wide, but luckily still able to stay on the track, perhaps with a little bit of dirty tyres there. But yeah, it was certainly very close between the two drivers, Hugh. Obviously, two doesn't go into one through the S-bends there, and Dutchman was the unlucky one there, I think.
Yes, it is close though. I mean, I know there's a few little kind of clusters of cars, but it's still, there's not much in it. And as soon as somebody gets some space, as Galara Brown just gets a half-second penalty there too, as soon as the drivers get a chance to get some space in front, they tend to be trying to pull away. And Levitius, Chaz and Panic Potato are really covered by next to nothing. So it's very close here in their groups. And in fact, we've just got Wolfie going for a move there, or Tracing Neil on the move, and it looks like Wolfie's gone very much sideways, and Neil takes in 9th place.
Right, okay. I may have just about got the on board there, so let me try and get a replay. Okay, so we're on board with Neil now. He was in 10th position. There's Wolfie just in front of him with Giller just in front as well, and it looks like Wolfie tried the old switcheroo, but it wasn't able to stick, and unfortunately did lose that position where it looked like KLM Pace was going to take full advantage there, but in the end had to settle into 11th position. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, guys, it's very, very close between all the drivers right now. We're talking about half a second separating Levitius to teammate Chaz in second position, and Panic Potato sniffing the bumper of Chaz in third position as well. And it looks like Kennels is able to stay in tow with the top three drivers as well, who's also on the medium tyres. The top three drivers also using the medium tyres. Richard is, I guess, in first place using the hard tyres, currently in fifth, but it looks like Nutcap is starting to make moves now as Nutcap goes up the inside and powers past Richard. Richard's going to try and hang it around the outside, but it's going to be Or actually, I thought that Nutcap was going to pull away there, but he does stick to Nutcap, although Nutcap would have had the better traction out of the hairpin being on... In fact, no, he's on the hard tyres. I do apologise. They're both on the hard tyres. So in fact, that was a move on merit from Nutcap. So a great move from him, but Richard is all over the back bumper of Nutcap. Is he going to send one down the inside, or is he going to think better of it? It looks like he's going to think better of it with teammate JDJ just behind Richard as well in 7th position. So good move there from Nutcap up into the top 5 position there, and making inroads in the grid right now, Hugh.
Absolutely, his confidence is growing every race he does. But I'm looking at the moment at Kennels, who is just happily sitting behind the top 3 there, just a fraction as the 6/10 off the top 3. And of course, he doesn't have to worry about all that battling in front. He can potentially pick up places, and he can be much easier on his tyres, probably do a bit of fuel saving at the same time, which is going to be vital here. So maybe can he pick up onto the podium as things develop, because he's not involved in the battle. He's got just enough space between him, and anything could happen with these top 3, as there's literally half a second in it with the top 3 group. But Kennels is sitting pretty there in 4th, waiting to pick up any positions that might become available.
Yes, and Giller is just about to serve his half a second penalty now. So he was in 9th position, but Puma Racing Neil up into P9, and KLM Pace or Kendog up into 10th position. I think we're going to go with KLM Pace as he goes for a late dive down the inside on Neil, and that's 2 for 1 for KLM Pace. So a fantastic move there from KLM Pace, and we'll have a look on the replay. So there's Neil, and up the inside. In fact, I said it was 2 for 1. It was just on 1, but nevertheless, it was a late dive down the inside, and that was a fantastic move to move up into 9th position. But it is still very, very close. And in fact, Neil has got past KLM Pace to move back into 9th position. So they're having a real good ding-dong battle between the two. And let's just hope it's not costing them on time here, because, of course, strategy is so important here, Hugh. It's looking like if they've started on the medium tyres with the racing hards and the soft tyres that are mandatory, it does mean that they are on the 2 stoppers. So it does mean that they are going to be on the medium tyres for quite a considerable time. I thought he got bumped from behind, but I think that might have been a little bit of lag there. But yeah, KLM Pace in sort of last of the trio in this train, looking to try and power past Neil, maybe getting the double overspeed or the double slipstream, sorry. And is he going to go for a late move? He thought about it and made Neil think about it, that's for sure, as there was a tiny bit of contact through the hairpin there, but no damage for either of them, of course. Yeah, this is the particular part of the race where the strategies really do come into play here. Nitro Merlin started at the back of the grid, well, 13th position potentially. He's in 12th position, racing hard tyres he's using. I do wonder whether or not he's doing a little bit of fuel saving, but he's going to power down the outside of Giller. Now that is interesting. Giller is going to try and hold his nerve, and in fact lets him through because that is his teammate, of course. So recognising that Nitro Merlin is the faster car at this stage, so allowing him past, and then that giving the opportunity for Giller to maybe save a little bit of fuel and try and save on them tyres as well, Hugh.
Yes, that's what they've got to do, isn't it? Because that fuel saving is crucial, because otherwise you're going to be struggling at the end of the race, or it just takes so much longer in the pit lane if you're going to be taking more fuel on board. But an interesting tyre strategy. The ones on the hards, definitely doing some pretty good times actually. Many of them are in the low 36s. I've been on board with Nutcap, and he did a 136.1, and he's well into the low 36s, which is good, quite consistent there. But I noticed the top 4 are really pulling away. Kennels is now 8.3 seconds ahead of Nutcap in 5th place. So that top group have got a bit of distance, but then they are on the medium tyres, so they have a better chance of pulling away and being a bit faster. So when they start to do the pit stops, then it's really going to get very close indeed.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, they're on the hard tyres, of course, so they're doing a very good job. But yes, 8.3 seconds is the gap between Nutcap and Kennels, who's currently in 4th position and still in the hunt for the lead pack here. So yeah, Kennel's doing a really good job here, but now it's just interesting to see about the tyre situation here, because the tyre degradation on Kennel's front right tyre looking a little bit worse for wear. This is where the car really feels the lack of grip. And oh, Chaz just picked up a half-second penalty for cutting track limits there. None of the other drivers did, so that is going to hurt Chaz when he does eventually serve that half-a-second penalty. But right now, I do wonder whether or not there is a bit of team strategy going on here, because I think, in fact, Chaz is going to be serving that penalty now. So it does mean that Panic Potato will propel past him into 2nd position, and I'm pretty sure Kennels will also have the overspeed as well to move up into 3rd position, and indeed he does. So there's Chaz in the background with the slowdown, and he'll be going back on to maximum speed now and try to make the penalty as minimal as possible as he tries to catch up in the hairpin there. But yeah, certainly between the top 4 drivers though, certainly very, very close, and a difficult one to call. But yeah, Nutcap right now though doing an excellent job from 5th position, who is got Richard and JDJ for company, so he hasn't been able to shake them, but nevertheless keeping very, very good pace with consistent 1 minute 36 lap times, with his fastest lap time of a 1 minute 36.1. Now that is actually pretty comparable to the likes of Kennels, who is the fastest man on the circuit right now with the fastest lap of a 1 minute 35.1. That is on the medium tyres. Oh, as nearly commentators cursed there, I thought Nutcap ran a little bit wide on the exit there, but lucky not to pick up too much dirt on the tyres or even get a penalty for that. But looking further down the grid, there are a few battles going on. Neil is currently just in front of KLM Pace. Of course, KLM Pace on the softer of compounds, on the medium tyres. I do wonder on the strategies how many laps drivers will be running right now, because we're looking at Pace's tyre degradation at the moment. They're getting into that window where they're starting to get into agony time, really, I'd say, where they'll be crying for help, I think. So, but yeah, Neil at the moment keeping good pace. Again, consistent 1 minute 36s, a few 1 minute 37s, but Ken Dog or Kaylin Pace is now... Well, he's really closed that gap. I do wonder whether or not he's doing a little bit of fuel saving, because fuel saving is required in this race. Or you can go flat out, but it just means you've got to be spending more time in the pit lane refueling. So I do wonder whether or not there will be a little bit of fuel saving, and I've just got confirmation there as he just changed the gear just shy of when the rev limiter is flashing. But yeah, we got that trainer cars there, VSR Wolfie behind the trio there in 10th position, with Nitro Merlin in 11th, and making good progress then, who is dragging Gilla and Fish along for 12th and 13th position respectively. Now there's a bit of a gap to Dutchman. 1.5 seconds is the gap to Fish and Dutchman. Dutchman, of course, the Tier 2 driver that got promoted into Tier 1 for this week, getting that 3rd position. So looking to try and hang on to the slip, but I think he's just outside of that slip now. But he is on the hard tyres, and a long way to go in this race. We're on lap 12 of 32. We've still got 20 laps to go here.
Yes, already over a third of the way through, and Kennels has just picked up a half-second penalty. I was watching earlier in the lap, and he was going so wide. He went wide through the tunnel, but managed to miss the penalty there. But it was coming out of the 3rd tunnel as they go up the hill, and that's where the penalty happened. He just went over the curb and a wee bit more. But look how close it is between 1st and 2nd, Sean. It looks like Levidius, in fact, Levidius is down into 2nd.
Well, to be honest, Panic Potato was in front of Levitius for a while now, but Levitt is all over the back bumper, but deciding not to go for the move for the time being. So really trying to play the smart game here, maybe save a little bit of fuel and try to conserve the tyre life and not lose too much time to the likes of Kernick. Although he's got that half-second penalty, still well in the fight. So maybe Levitt is just looking at the bigger picture here and just not going for any silly manoeuvres. So right now he is just sitting in second position behind Panic Potato. But what a performance so far from Panic Potato, I have to say though, Hugh. Panic Potato, of course, one of the drivers that got promoted from Tier 2 last week. He got second position, and right now he's leading the race.
Yeah, that really shows you this tier, the structure works extremely well. Because there you are, starting in Tier 2, now he's leading Tier 1 in terms of the position for the race. It's very, very close, but it's great to see the rivalry here and the competition as it's, I mean, the top three are covered by next to nothing, and there it's almost, the video's almost pushing him along. It's that close for first and second place. But so far in the first third of the race, my goodness, you can't take your eyes off any car because there's so much action happening.
Yes, indeed. Oh, as Chaz went a little bit deep into the hairpin there, trying to cover off Kennels. Of course, had the overspeed as Kennels took his penalty, but Chaz getting on the anchors a little bit late, and that cost him a little bit of time to Levitt, who is now, he's on the charge right now, as looks like Levitt is going to sneak down the inside of Panic Potato then to become the new race leader of the race then. And he does it with aplomb to move into the lead of the race with Panic Potato just behind, just going to settle down into second position and just really work in tandem with Levitt. Of course, both of them teammates, part of TNR, with Chaz trying to defend off from Kennels, who is applying the pressure right now, and Kennels just giving a quick reminder to Chaz that I'm still there, I am still hunting for your position, and I will sneak in when given the opportunity. So Kennel's looking very, very competitive in this race, and really, really good to see. We're going to have a little bit of a look further down the grid though, with Nutcap in fifth position then, who is about half a second in front of VSR Richard. They've been a line astern for pretty much the whole race, as VSR Richard just behind in P6. JDJ though has got a half a second penalty, so he'll be hoping that he won't be losing too much of the toe. But we've also got DMR Ken Dog, or sorry, it's very confusing here, but that is KLM Pace. I do believe he is using a separate account to race in this one, but that is KLM Pace. So KLM Pace currently in 8th position, just in front of Human Racing Neil. Now we did expect that KLM Pace would have the extra speed being on their medium tyres, but I have to say, because the drivers behind are on the hard tyres, I do wonder what kind of pace is between both tyres, because the mediums should be faster, but they are at a point where the degradation is pretty high, as it looks like Neil is going to try and challenge for that position then, but he's going to have the outside line, which is not the optimal line to take the first turn, and it looks like Neil isn't able to get past him and will have to settle in 9th position. But meanwhile, VSR Wolfie just been quite about his business really in 10th position on the hard tyres, actually, when we look at the fuel count, it looks like Wolfie's done a lot of fuel saving here, because Wolfie's just under a half a tank, with Neil and KLM Pace nearer to the quarter of a tank. So it does look like Wolfie is he's possibly doing the one-stopper here, Hugh, because of course we're on lap number 15 on the hard tyres. So I do wonder whether or not he's literally going to stay on the hard tyres for as long as possible until he runs out of fuel, and then depending on how many laps we've got left, may just do one stint on the softs, because we've got 17 laps left. I do know that through my testing on the soft tyres, if I did a little bit of fuel saving, I was able to get about 11 laps on the soft tyres, albeit at a slower pace to those that are pushing. So I do wonder whether or not he's going to be doing that, because I do wonder whether or not going on the medium tyres, and of course he has driven past the pit lane for the 15th time now, so I do wonder whether or not that is a little bit too late for him to get onto the medium tyres. So I think that's what he's going to be doing here. But then we got Nitro Merlin as well. I think he's got a similar strap, but he's got a lot less fuel than Wolfie in 10th, so he's nearer the quarter of a tank, so maybe he might be trying the two-stopper and maybe pitting at the end of this lap and doing 2 stints on the soft tyres. I do wonder whether or not going on the mediums and then softs, whether or not it's a little bit too late to do that now. So yeah, it remains to be seen, but there's going to be I think a lot to be revealed in the next lap or two when it comes to strategies too.
Yeah, and certainly if he can pull off a one-stop, well, he's not too far away. He's just 21 seconds behind the leaders there, but that will all propel him certainly up the field a bit, because it's a very, very long pit stop here. It does take quite a while, and as he comes, he's still well in sight of Puma Racing Neil, and then it is Ken Dog in front there. So there's not much in it, and you can see the cars actually coming into the hairpin as we're on board with Wolfie, as I'm watching him just now. Yeah, I mean, there's 3 cars in the group ahead, and then there's 2 in front of him straight away. So there's a chance to make up a good number of places if he can make that strategy work.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, all will be revealed in the next lap or two. Is anyone going to come in? No, it looks like they've stayed out again. So continuing on this conundrum here, Hugh, where we're just kind of guessing at this stage, but let's just go back up to the top of the grid then. So we've got Levitius, who is currently the race leader. He's got an 0.8 of a second lead over Chaz. However, Chaz has just picked up a half-second penalty for cutting track limits, so he's going to sink back a bit further back. And then we've got Panic Potato, who has sunk down a little bit, so I do wonder if he's picked up any penalties since the last time that we got on board with him. But currently in P3, and them tyres are looking worse for wear on them medium tyres. We are on lap 17, so I do anticipate he will be coming in at the end of this lap, because the fuel situation from him is not good. So I would imagine, yeah, he'll be coming in. But Kennels, meanwhile, is to the back of Panic Potato now. He has got a little bit more fuel, so I do wonder whether or not he'll do one more stop, but I do predict that Panic Potato will be coming in at the end of this lap. And yes, no, okay, no. Okay, I didn't think he would have enough fuel there, but he's thinking, no, we're going to go one better or one more, and pit maybe at the end of the next lap, because I'm pretty sure even on fuel mixture 6 he's not going to make it work, as it looks like Kennels has oh no, Panic Potato on the old switcheroo, and in fact he grabs that position away from Kennels, so he looked like Kennels was set to take that position away from Panic Potato, but Panic Potato able to defend that position from Kennels with the switchback. And let's have a look on that replay. That was a beautiful defending from Panic Potato. So looking aboard with Kennels there, he had the inside line, so you thought, okay, Kennels is going to take that position away, but there was Panic Potato and able to take the inside line, and Kennels couldn't do anything about that. And Panic Potato defends and keeps that 3rd position. However, how long he's going to keep it for, because Kennels is sniffing the rear exhaust of Panic Potato, so maybe Kennels may look to slingshot his way past at the hairpin, but I'm pretty sure that Panic Potato will be pitting at the end of this lap, and I think probably the same with Kennels, if I'm being honest. We will see now, but the top drivers still... No, Levitius has pitted from 1st position with 4% of fuel. Chaz with 6. Panic Potato had 1% of fuel, and Kennels had 6%. So here's Puma Nutcap then, who is currently in 5th position. He's going to stay out with VSR Richard in 6th and JDJ in 7th. all three on the hard tyres, of course. So provisionally are going to go into the race lead then, with Nutcap leading this trio then. VSR Richard in second and JDJ in third. Then we've got KLM Pace up into fourth then, Wolfie in fifth, and looks like Nitro Merlin went up the inside of Puma Racing Neil to steal that sixth position away, and Neil dropping down to P7. VSR Fish up into P8. Then we have got Giller in P9, and then it looks like Levitius then, who's already made his stop with his teammate Chaz just behind him, rejoining in 10th and 11th position. Kennels in P12, Pellet Potato in P13, and Dutchman is back into the pits. So Dutchman, perhaps not having the best of races here, maybe performing the two-stopper here then. Pretty sure this is his second stop. So looks like he's losing a lot of ground here. Maybe about, do you know what? I think he was on the hard tyres first stint. So yes, medium tyres then for this final stint for him, and he'll be hoping that he can make up ground to the drivers in front of him. But the gap is 44 seconds, so quite a sizable margin, and definitely doing something very different to the rest of the drivers, Hugh.
Yes, that is a big gamble there. We'll have to keep an eye out and see how his tyres last. But I mean, they've done quite certainly the top three drivers. They went very far, 18 laps on their mediums. You need to do certainly about 14 laps thereabouts on his medium. So yeah, I think they would still be pretty competitive. Maybe that might be a chance for him, but he's a long way down. But we'll have to keep an eye on him and see if he can come through the field as the others do their second pit stop a bit later on. But it's very exciting as they go on to the strategies. You never know what is going to happen now, and we've still got people like VSR Richard on those hard tyres and getting there, and he's still got a good bit of fuel left, and he's pushing Nutcap for first place. So it's all happening, and will it balance out later on? Will Vitius, who's in 8th place, will he be able to come through the field? We'll just have to wait and see, but very close for first and second as we watch them now.
Well, Levitius did just make the move on Giller there around the outside. Of course, Giller on the old hard tyres, Levitius on a fresh set of soft tyres, so was able to make the move with ease, but he has got a half a second penalty to serve on this lap. We got Chaz, who wasn't able to get past Giller, still currently in 10th position, but he should have the superior grip now. He's timed it to perfection, as well as he slings his way down the inside of Giller, and Giller is going to have to concede there. Levitius just taking his penalty now, but Chaz a little bit too far behind to catch up with his teammate, which the gap is now down to about a second. It looks like Giller, oh no, what's happened now? What's happened there? Was there contact between the two drivers? I was just about to say that I thought that maybe there was a tangle between the two drivers. So let's have a look on board with the replay now. And it was three abreast. Chaz on the inside, but Giller touches the rear side of his bumper and spins out Chaz. And I think there will be a stewards inquiry on that one. But yeah, that looks certainly on Giller's head there. And unfortunately, Chaz losing out many a position there, down into 9th position now. And with JDJ now just coming onto new boots on the soft tyres ahead of Nutcap. So leapfrogging Nutcap in the pit lane. And Nutcap rejoins in 11th position on fresh soft tyres. And then we've got KLM Pace in 12th position, looking to defend from Neil, where they've been hammers and tongs all race, but so far KLM Pace with the upper hand from Neil, but Neil of course on soft tyres and KLM Pace on the hard tyres, so it's inevitable that Neil will make the move on him, but he is literally sticking to him like glue, just not able to force a move past him at the moment. But surely once we come into the braking zone for the left-hander before the tunnel, I thought Neil was going to go for the move there, to be honest, but Neil should be able to slingshot his way using that slipstream and get past him before we get into the hairpin. But Caelan Pace probably going to defend, or maybe thinking maybe we're going to lose too much time here. Just get past me and maybe I can use your slipstream, because it looks like Neil has got the inside line now. He should propel his way into 12th position, which he does. So nice move there from Neil, but KLM Pace, and I can't say his name now, is in 13th, but he will use that slipstream. I think Neil will defend for his life though to make sure that he isn't able to sneak past him. But Wolfie coming into the pits from, I think it was well, he's rejoined in 8th position with Fish and Neil and Giller, sorry, not Giller, it was I'm just trying to figure out who that was then. It was Neil side by side, wasn't it?
With Kendall, as he went through, and Vartimus.
Yes, but it was what I meant was so Fish came out of the pits and then there was Neil coming down the straight, and they were side by side as they went into turn 1. But let me just get the replay and just see like exactly what it was. So yeah, it was Neil who was coming down the straight with KLM Pace, and then there was Fish just coming out with Nitro Merlin, in fact, able to get past Nitro Merlin, and Fish just about getting out in front of Puma Racing Neil and KLM Pace, with Nitro Merlin unfortunately dropping down to 12th. So Gillard not having the best of races here in 13th position, and I do wonder whether or not he picked up a penalty from that or not, but yeah, not having the best of races there, or did he just pit? In fact, he might have just pitted, which would suggest that he did, yes. So Gillard down into 13th on fresh soft tyres, 6.5 seconds adrift. In fact, there is KLM Pace coming into the pits then from 12th position on the hard tyres. I think he's got the soft tyres to serve, and he'll be running them for 10 laps. So Gillard should propel his way past KLM Pace and move up into 12th position, and he's also got half a second penalty, so perhaps not having the best of races. He had it all to do from the back of the grid at the start of the race, but he's going to get released on circuit into 13th position, and there's Dutchman is flying in and not able to take that position away, but surely now he's going to challenge him for that second from last position. Of course, bottom 3 drivers, 12th, 13th and 14th, is in the drop zone and will get relegated into tier 2 for next week. But yeah, certainly it's starting to heat up now, Hugh.
Yes, that's the thing, because we've got Nitro Merlin, who is just 6.5 seconds ahead of Galara Brown. But will that time come down? Because as you say, they need to get out of the relegation zone. They don't want to be going into tier 2 if they can help it. But yes, 6.5 seconds Merlin is ahead of Galara Brown. And then it's all to play for. Right after that, we've got a group of 3 with Puma Racing Neo, and looking at also Vartimus and Wolfie in 8th, 9th and 10th. So it's close through the field there. Now I was going to be looking earlier because we thought that Dutchman might actually do that longer, that not having to come in again.
Sorry to cut you off, Hugh. Richard down the inside of Nutcap. Nutcap is going to try and defend and try to squeeze Richard, but it was inevitable that Richard was going to take that position away from him to move up into 6th place. Nutcap down into P7. We'll see if he can hang on to the back of Richard. Richard on the soft tyres. Nutcap also on the soft tyres, but a little bit more degradation on them tyres. So maybe this is where Richard is going to start to push now and try to catch up with the grid in front of him. But yeah, Nutcap down into P7, still having a great race. But sorry, Hugh, I interrupted you there.
No, that's fine. It's very interesting that Richard is only 21 seconds ahead of, behind Levitius, which I would say is probably about a pit stop length. So can he bring that time down? And could that propel him up further on when Levitius has to come in again for his pit stops. And Kennels isn't too far away, just 5.4 seconds behind Levitius on his racing soft tyres and a quarter of a tank of fuel. So will that be enough to get him to the end? It's going to be very close.
Yes, it is, and we've got a three-way battle for 8th position as well. So VSR Wolfie is leading that charge, but of course teammates Fish and Wolfie will be working in tandem to try and defend from Puma Racing Neil, who is currently in 10th position. But they're all on the soft tyres, and Neil's tyres looking a little bit more worse for wear, although still has a good tyre life in them. But it looks like maybe Fish and Wolfie will be looking to try and pull away from Neil, as Fish looks for one down the inside on VSR Wolfie. Wolfie gives him the space, and Fish moves up into 8th position ahead of Wolfie, who drops down into 9th, and Puma Racing Neil, who is well actually on the back bumper of Wolfie now in 10th position. But also as well, as we look on the drivers just behind, Nitro Merlin is just hanging on to the last place to finish into tier 1 for next week, that is. Giller is 6.4 seconds down on him in 12th position, both on the soft tyres. We've got 7 laps remaining, and yeah, Giller could be facing the drop if he's not able to start getting a move on and trying to catch up with a Nitro Merlin. We've got also KLM Pace, who's 16.3 seconds adrift of Giller in 13th position on the soft tyres. They should be reasonably fresh here, so it's just about how much time he can squeeze out of them soft tyres, but of course looking a little bit precarious, it has to be said to you, with the gaps being so large.
Yes, there's only 6 laps to go as they get towards the end of the race, and Panic Potato has actually gone up into 2nd place. He did get past Kennels. Both of them are pretty short on fuel, mind you, less than a quarter of a tank. Really, it's about 1/8 of a tank for Kennels, and Panic Potato is a little bit more. He's got just under a quarter of a tank, but also on those racing soft tyres. But a real battle here for 2nd place, because Kennels and Panic Potato are desperately trying to swap places, with Levitius 5.5 seconds ahead.
Yes, indeed. Well, Kennel's tyres not looking that great, but Panic Potato's even worse, actually. Well, in fact, I don't think they're going to get 6 laps, are they? Surely not. So it looks like there will be another stint on the soft tyres, I think. I could be wrong. They started on the medium, didn't they? So they're going to have to use... I was in the hards. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
To account for everything, and there comes Kennels on the outside, but Panic Potato has got that one covered. But yes, they've maybe just a little bit short on tyres and a little bit short on fuel, with the amount of distance they have yet to go.
Indeed. Well, Kennels really trying to put the nerves on Panic Potato right now, because as we come across the line to finish lap number 26 of 32, Kennels shown the outside line, but is he going to be able to sweep around the outside? It's going to be brave. And it looks like he's made his stick, and yes, he does. What a fantastic move from Kennels to move up into 2nd position around the outside. I have to say, Panic Potato had to give him the space, and something he definitely did. We know that Panic Potato is a very good driver and very respectful, but Kennels, yeah, he did trust Panic Potato there, and tried it around the outside. I think Panic Potato will be a little bit annoyed that that move was completed from Kennels, but Panic Potato, of course, will come fighting back here to try and steal that 2nd position away from him, if he can get a good exit here out. Kennels, has he got a little bit deep? I'm not sure. I think he may have just about got away with it. Panic Potato is, well, it looks like it's inevitable here. Panic Potato takes the inside line. Kennels on the outside. But we've just seen that Kennels is very good around the outside. Paddock Potato is going to have to take that more narrow line, and he makes it stick and move back up into second position. I will have a look on that move from Kennels though, because that was a fantastic sweep around the outside from him initially. But Paddock Potato, we could see how competitive he is, as you know, was saying, no, I'm not allowing that, I'm going to take that position away from you, and certainly that is something he did. But what a fantastic move from Kennels nevertheless. Oh, and they are still side by side as they battle for that second position. On turn one, Paddock Potato's got the inside line. Kennels will have the inside line for the next turn though, so he will successfully defend that second position away from Paddock Potato, but he's not going to give up without a fight though, as Kennels, if he finishes in second position, I'm pretty sure throughout the SMA, I'm pretty sure that's the best result I've ever seen him get there. So he will be fighting tooth and nail to make sure that he finishes in second ahead of TNR Paddock Potato, who is still having a phenomenal race after coming from tier 2 last week. But Paddy Potato goes a little bit deep. Will he get a penalty from that? Yes, he does, and that is going to hinder his hopes now, because Chaz, of course, Chaz is lurking in the background in fourth position, and where he's only 1.3 seconds behind, that position will come under serious threat from his teammate Chaz, and Potato will be panic. Well, yeah, pardon the pun, but he will be panicking at this stage.
Yes. What's incredible is that they just pulled out half a second on Levitius on that lap alone, but they're all coming into the pits now for their final pit stop. And let's see, Chaz comes in as well, and they're all going to go. They're currently on the softs. They're going to have to surely use the tyre they did not start on, which was the hard tyre. That's the one that is required, the one they're going to need any second now, and there's hardly any fuel left as well. So Richard goes into the lead so far. Now, can he keep it there? Yes, Richard has gone clear of the field with just 3 laps to go.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, this is where it's going to be hard. Oh, no, Cap goes a little bit deep on turn 1 there as he kicks up the dust. And he's desperately trying to fight off VSR JDJ for that second position. JDJ, we know how fast he is and how experienced he is in finishing in the podium positions. So that Cap not being used to being in this type of position, I do wonder or not if he can withstand the pressure, keep to his driving lines, and make life as difficult as possible for JDJ. But yeah, certainly on the strategy, and I'm just trying to think on. So they definitely, yeah, they started on hard tyres, didn't they? Yeah, so they've used their mandatory pit stops here. So that is a fantastic strategy from the top 3. Levitius then, who doesn't normally get it wrong, but currently in 4th position, and he has got a certain VSR Wolfie for company, and Puma Racing Neil and Fish are going to be fighting side by side. Looks like Fish, well, momentarily had the inside line, but Neil is going to defend from Fish to hold on to 6th position. But yeah, Levitius on the hard tyres, Wolfie on the soft tyres, so he's going to come under increasing pressure from Wolfie then in the final embers of this race, with Puma Racing Neil also on the soft tyres, but slightly more worn soft tyres, so they might be falling off a cliff right now, with Fish all over the back bumper of him as he looks to go up the inside of Puma Racing Neil to take that 6th position away from him. And I think he's made his stick, has he? Yes, he does, just about. And Fish moves up into 6th, Neil down into P7. Kennels, Kennels and Potato side by side. Looks like Kennels just able to defend from Paddock Potato. Nitro Merlin has been drawn into the fight as well. Just behind, as Paddock Potato look to take that gap that Kennels afforded to him. As they go a little bit wide on the exit there, scraping the wall. There's Nitro Merlin in the background. Paddock Potato Potato just picks up a half-second penalty for cutting track limits, and I did think he got a little bit close to that wall. Now Nitro Merlin's going to be licking his lips now, as he will be able to take that 9th position away from Panic Potato, and Chaz in 11th position on the hard tyres, of course. So the strategy's really backfired on Chaz. Not used to seeing him that low down. He will take 1 position away from Panic Potato, and then Giller 3.7 seconds behind in 12th position, and he is in the drop zone. So this is where things get very intense, and will Giller be able to pick up the pace and avoid the relegation? We got 2 laps remaining. He's currently in the drop zone with KLM Pace in 13th and Dutchman in 14th, who are miles apart. Let's be honest, it looks like them two will be in tier 2 for the next round, but can Giller from all stops, can he avoid relegation and stay in tier 1 for next week? It's looking unlikely though, Hugh.
Yes, he's got a lot of work to do. In the meantime, Richard is leading the race by 2.4 seconds, but he's got hardly any fuel left. It's well into the red, and I know he's maybe only got 1 lap after this one, but it's going to be very close. But he's managing to pull away 2.5 seconds into the lead, but I thought Nutcap might just catch him there. But 1, 2, 3 for Richard, Nutcap and JDG, and Wolfie's not far away either.
Okay, well, an interesting point here, and something I did just see in chat as well. Good spot there. So Nutcap and JDJ, their tyres have fallen off a cliff, but Nutcap's tyres are even worse than JDJ's. We have got 1 more lap to go, and Hugh, you know all too well, once them tyres go fully red, there is literally no grip. It's almost as if you're driving on ice, and Nutcap is facing that possibility right now in 2nd position. Will he be able to nurse the car home to finish in 2nd? I'm not 100% sure, but JDJ kind of in that scenario right now as well, but it's looking a little bit better for him, as it looks like JDJ's got a great run on Nutcap. He's going to slingshot his way down the inside, and it looks like Nutcap's defensive position of holding on to P2 is going to come to an end, and JDJ grabs that 2nd position away from him. But Nutcap still in 3rd position now. He's got a 7.4 second lead over VSR Wolf. Oh, Levitas and VSR Wolfie fighting tooth and nail for that 4th position. And may need to have a look on the replay there, because I feel like there was a big move for that 4th position. Levitas 4th, Wolfie 5th, Fish 6th. This is very, very tight between the 3 drivers. Let's have a quick look on the replay. So VSR Wolfie did have that 4th position, but Levitas had the inside line and was able to take that inside line to hold, well, to grab that 4th position. There was the tiniest bit of contact between the 2 of them, but Levitas up into 4th. But we are going to have a look at our race leader then, and that is VSR Richard, because he is currently leading the race. And surely, I think you, this is the first ever victory for VSR Richard. So yeah, he's been well, this has been one of the best strategies I think I've ever seen. He's played it so smartly, and with a 3.3 second lead over JDJ, he is going to go across the line to claim the checkered flag and win round 2 at Deep Forest Raceway in the Porsche Cayman Group 4 cars. Congratulations to VSR Richard, and JDJ will grab 2nd position away from Nutcap, but Nutcap also on a podium in 3rd position. Congratulations to Nutcap. Levitas just finishes in front of Wolfie for 4th, 5th and 6th for Fish, and Puma Racing Neil comes home in 7th position. Chaz just in front of Panic Potato, P8, P9. Kennel's top 10. Nitro Merlin P11, and Giller wasn't able to survive the drop and finish in 12th position. So Giller will be down into 12th, into tier 2 for next week, sorry, and then Kaelin Pace will be joining him, who finishes in 13th position ahead of a Dutchman who will come home in 14th. So all 3 drivers will be eliminated from tier 1 into tier 2 for next week. But what a fantastic race that was, Hugh.
Ah, it was fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. What a strategy from Richard. What a strategy. Kept it calm, went on those hard tyres. We saw him in the early stages in like 5th and 6th positions, doing a great job. He also did a perfect fuel saving as well. Really worked fantastically well for him. And then he goes into the lead and gets his first victory. It's a well-deserved victory tonight for Richard.
Indeed. So just confirmation of the race results then. VSR Richard is the second driver to win in this season's 2025 MSA Cup. And what a fantastic victory that was from VSR Richard, who finished 3.2 seconds ahead of his teammate JDJ, who grabbed a much better result this time around for second position. Then Nutcap got the last step on the podium. Congratulations to the young man. Yeah, great result for him, finishing ahead of Levitius, who grabbed 4th position. Of course, started on pole position as well. So a bit of a shock there, but certainly this championship is looking rather open, that is for sure. 5th position went to VSR Wolfie, which is still a very solid result for him. And 6th position went to VSR Fish, with Puma Racing Neil in 7th and Chaz, or Papaya Racer, in 8th position. Then in 9th position, we had TNR Panic Potato making his Tier 1 debut with a solid result there ahead of Kennels, who finished in 10th position. It does mean that VSR Nitro Merlin, who started towards the back of the grid, claiming that last elusive position to remain in Tier 1 for next week. He grabbed 11th, and it will be VSR Giller, his teammate, who will be in the drop zone and down into Tier 2 for next week, who finished in P12. DMR Kendog, or Kalen Pace, in 13th, and 14th went to Dutchman. So all 3 drivers will be down into Tier 2. So we are going to be interviewing the top 3 drivers now in VSR Richard, JDJ and Nutcap, but we're going to come to Nutcap first. So just allow us to sort ourselves out, and we'll get the thoughts of all 3 drivers.
Yeah, I mean, I had a pretty good race, fun results, and well done to Richard and JDJ. They drove a really, really solid race.
Hold on, what's going on here, guys?
And I'm happy. Congrats to JDJ and Richard. They drove a very, very good race, and thanks for the clean battles. And yeah, JDJ had a nice overtake on me at the end. They fuel saved a lot better than me. That's just a lesson learned. But yeah, congratulations then.
So talk about your strategy then, Nutcap, because it looked like there was a few different strategies getting played out at Deep Forest. You know, was this a strategy that you practiced before the race, or was it something that you felt you had to change up as the race unfolded?
So throughout the entire week, I wasn't sure whether to go two stop or one stop. But for the last couple of days, I've been specializing in the one stop, and yeah, it turned out to be the fastest strategy. So I did prepare for the strategy, and it worked out pretty well.
Fantastic stuff. Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously myself and Hugh, we've got a few ideas up our sleeve when it comes to strategies. But when you was kind of in the sort of midfield pack, I mean, did you have a rough idea of like the type of strategies that the other drivers were doing at the time?
Yeah. So after the first couple laps, when that first group of four pulled away, I was hoping they were on mediums, because if they're on hards, I would have been screwed. But yeah, it turns out they were on mediums, which worked out very well. And after the first pit stop, I noticed they were only around about 13 seconds behind us, so I knew we would have a shot in the race.
Well, I've got to say, a big congratulations to you, Nutcap. I mean, third position. I mean, that's amazing. In the second race of the season as well. So, with two races down, how are you feeling about the rest of the championship?
I'm pretty optimistic because Group 4 is probably my worst category, so hopefully I can get some good results in the future.
Okay. Well, we look forward to seeing you in the next round at Road Atlanta, and you've definitely laid down the gauntlet now. Now you're saying that the Group 3 cars are perfectly suited for you, so we look forward to seeing how you get on next week.
Thanks.
Thank you, Nutcap. And then we come to our second place. There we go. We come to our second place finisher, VSR JDJ. Good to see you back in the podium spots. How did that go for you?
Thank you very much. To be honest with you, this was gonna go. There was only two ways this could have ended, with the one-stop strategy not being used at the front, and then the guys on the one-stop strategy getting the benefit with the minus 21 second loss, which is your normal pit stop time, or they would have just breezed away, and then we wouldn't have been able to close that gap or keep the certain gap to actually jump them out of the pits. So I can't complain. My qualifying wasn't that well, but I knew I had the race pace and the race strategy to possibly enter the podium. So yeah, I can't complain. It was awesome work from Richard, myself, and Nutcap. We remained in the train, didn't battle, just focused on fuel saving the tires, and just going forward, and just checking the delta of the front runners and just working on it, just to keep it below 21 seconds, just so that we know we had the extra pit stops worth of gap. So I can't complain. It was a tough fought and a decent result. Can't complain.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it was. As I said with me and Hugh, it was kind of guessing on a lap-to-lap basis, really, of what kind of strategies you guys were doing, really. But yeah, it seemed like you kind of kept the consistent pace. You it didn't look like you put a foot wrong, really. It was just about sort of kind of fine-tuning, I guess, like your fuel usage, your tyre usage, and it worked to perfection, JDJ. Was you at one point thinking maybe I could have got the race win here, or did you always feel like Richard had it?
So I went for the move of going 2 laps earlier than Richard, just because I knew I could make the softs last 12 laps. Wouldn't have looked pretty at the end of it, but I knew I could have made it last. So I tried to do a little bit of a jump strat just to see if I can't end up a bit earlier, because I know Richard's soft pace was incredibly fast. So, from all the practice sessions, everything, he was by far the top man on the softs. I knew it felt to me like I had a bit of a hard pace advantage. So it was always going to be 50-50, but I knew Richard was in with a big shot of winning it. And yeah, of course, he played everything right, pitted at the right time to keep the softs alive longer and better pace. and he just drove it to perfection. So it was going to be, in my mind, it was going to be between me and him. I felt like it was going to be like within the second. Of course, I had a couple of penalties costing me a bit of time, but I think this was Richard's race from the beginning.
Fair play. Well, I mean, compared to last week, JDJ, you got to be satisfied with the second position. So congratulations to you. I got to ask as well. So knowing that we've got Road Atlanta in the Group 3 cars, is this something that suits you better?
I'm extremely excited for the Group 3 cars, because these Group 4 cars, or not these Group 4 cars, but the Porsche specific, it's not meant for my hands. I struggle a lot driving this Porsche. It feels like there's too much grip and not enough power for the amount of grip. But the RCZ, the next car, the RCZ, suits my driving style to perfection. I love the RCZ. It's one of my favorite Group 3 cars. But then again, the track doesn't suit me as well. But that's something I can learn and work on. So I'm gonna push hard. Try to see you guys again next week. But yeah, we'll see how it plays. I'm excited, putting a bit more effort in for this series. So yeah, hopefully it goes well, and I'll see you guys again.
Yeah, we will indeed. I really look forward to that one. And like I said, congratulations on your second position today. Good to see you back in the podium positions. And very excited for next week, JDJ.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely one.
Thank you, JDJ. And lastly, to our race winner then, Richard, this is your first ever victory as far as I know when it comes to SMA, or am I wrong?
No, you're 100% correct. Yeah, at
There we
last, first place. So now I'm very, very, very satisfied with the result.
So, Richard, like I say again, obviously you used this, the same strategy really as Nutcap and JDJ. Tell us about your strategy. What was the plan beforehand, and how it paid out for you?
Okay, first of all, just Nutcap, well done, third place. I think he drove a brilliant race. Same with JD. I think he kept me on my toes. Strategy-wise, this is actually the first race I tried the one-stopper. I practiced a two-stopper like the TNR boys, Chas and Levitius. So when my qualify, my intent was when if I did qualify in front, I would start with the mediums. But qualifying, I think I qualified fourth. So I thought, okay, let me put on the hards and let me try this one-stopper that my whole team did on practice. I've never done it before, so I was a little bit unsure where to shift and all of that. But JD talked me through it throughout the race, and luckily I kept the penalties away, because it's cost you a lot of time if you get penalties. So I think that is what cost JD at the end. Otherwise, I think he would have had the victory in the pocket. I just made sure I kept the penalties out and saved fuel behind Nutcap. He had good pace on hards. I didn't want to battle him too much so that we lose time to the front runners. And yeah, it worked out perfectly in my favor. So I'm very, very happy, very satisfied.
Yeah, just a touch on when you actually dived into the pits then. So obviously you mentioned that you was doing fuel saving, and it was something that myself and Hugh did recognise as well. Was you quite surprised with how much fuel you managed to save compared to the other drivers, especially because of the position that you was in?
Not really. I think we continuously compare the fuel between myself and JD. Obviously, we've got a party chat open. So I wasn't sure about Nutcap, but he had all the wind in front. So actually, it is a big thanks to him. He made it possible to maintain decent speed on hards whilst saving fuel. And I know he had to push us a little bit harder than us, because he wasn't in any slip, because the medium guys dropped us I think after the fourth or fifth lap. I saved a lot of fuel behind Nutcap. I think if the positions were swapped around, if I were behind medium pace and they pull a gap, and then Nutcap was sitting behind me, I think he would have taken the victory. So yeah, it just played in my favor.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it certainly was a great performance from you, Richard. I'm so happy for you to grab that victory, and it's certainly a championship that's really open now, because Chaz won the first race, obviously yourself in the second race. We're used to seeing like Levitius, for example, being in the podium positions, but yet to record a podium so far this season. Quite a few twists and turns, do you think, in the final 8 races of this championship?
Yeah, I think it's nice to see. I think there's a lot of fast guys now in the South Africa sim racing world. So nothing against Levitius or Chaz and those guys. They are very, very fast. So I think they will come back in the rest of the season. But it's nice to see that it's a competitive field in Pool 1. I mean, there's Nutcap now. He's there on top. Yes, although the strategy played a little bit in our favor, but I think we are a couple of fast oaks, and I think it comes down to the day on the strat. And if you keep it clean and if you don't battle too much and you keep the penalties away, I think anybody can win it. To be honest, in Pool 1, I think it's open between any top 8, top 9 guys, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good for us viewers, that's for sure. Those that don't have to drive behind the wheel. You know, I'm sure you guys are as nervous as hell, and really feel the tension. But yes, but certainly myself and Hugh, and I'm sure I can speak for everyone in chat as well, that it's been a fantastic 2 races in the MSA Cup, and look forward to more, especially now that we jump into the Group 3 cars, starting off at Road Atlanta next week.
Yeah, no, I like the Grade 3 cars as well, especially I think it's the RCZ. So I know how it handles. I like the combo. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the Grade 3. So I like the Grade 3. So I think I'm also a little bit stronger in the Grade 3s than in the Grade 4s. Hopefully, it is what it is, and we'll see what's happening next week.
We will indeed. Well, congratulations to you, Richard, again, and go and celebrate, or whatever you do in celebrating race victories, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to next week. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Richard, and thank you to JDJ and Nutcap as well for their thoughts, and congratulations on their podium finishes. Hugh, full of surprises this race. I did mention it at the top of the program that we could have a few surprises, maybe not your usual drivers up there, and it did prove to be true.
Yeah, what a fantastic result. Richard with that strategy there from the heavens. Nutcap, what a brilliant, one of the youngest guys out there, doing a fantastic job. And JDJ proving his speed and his competitiveness by getting there on the podium. We really couldn't have asked for any more. And it was pretty clean overall. It was all, there were some great moves, lots of overtakes, but those guys thoroughly deserved it. I have to say, I'm going to give my driver of the day to Richard. I think he did a fantastic job there, going out on the hard tyres and making it work, and just that one stop for the racing softs, and then getting all the way to the end, and is crucially avoiding the penalties, as he said, because a lot of drivers were really pushing those track limits to the absolute extreme, many of them getting penalties, including Levitius as well. But it's really a very open championship, and I can't wait for next week. A brilliant race tonight, Sean.
Indeed. Well, let's speak about what's coming up for next week, even though we've kind of just mentioned it. But let's just run you through it anyways. But also as well, for those that are in chat, let us know who your driver of the day is as well. Just coming up for next week, we do have, of course, Road Atlanta for Monday, June the 23rd. in Georgia, of course. And this is, of course, a real-world racetrack, which made its series debut in Gran Turismo 7's Update 1.26. It is famous for hosting the Petit Le Mans, the 10-hour race that is usually held as part of the IMSA, the top level of endurance racing in the United States. And of course, we are going to be using a new car this time around, and we'll be using the Peugeot RCZ Group 3 car, which is a mid-engine rear-wheel drive Group 3 car with a turbocharged inline 4 engine. It does come as stock with 520 horsepower and 711 pp car. Now, a car that divides opinion, it has to be said. Some people find that for an MR car it's actually a little bit understeery, but I certainly think in the right hands this car could become an absolute weapon. Now, in terms of the format, you know, for those that missed the start of the broadcast and still a little bit confused with how the league system is run, so basically from the first race, which was last week, till the 5th race, we have a promotion and relegation system in each of the 4 tiers. Now, the top 3 drivers from each race in tiers 2 to 4 will be promoted to the above tier for the next race. Bottom 3, 12th, 13th and 14th will be demoted to the tier below. After race 5, the final determined tier position will be based on your total logged points, with the drop round included, meaning the worst round will be deducted from your final logged points, which will then determine which tier you will race in for the rest of the season. Now, I did just see a comment from Robin saying that the drivers coming up from tier 2 was Latari, Puma GTR, Mr. Robin Williams himself, and TNR Vortex. So they're coming up from tier 2, and obviously the 3 drivers dropping down from tier 1 to tier 2 for next week was Giller, Dutchman and Kalen Pace, wasn't it? So that is how the format works for us this season. Now, we do have to give a big shout out to our sponsors as well. The MSA Cup is sponsored by Simulator Cave, the haven for all your sim racing requirements in South Africa. And also a big shout out to TGSC Cape Town Golf Academy, the hotbed of nurturing talented golfers to reach full potential. Please subscribe to our socials at Sim Motorsport Association on all our platforms: Facebook, Instagram, our growing community on Discord, and of course this very channel on YouTube. Make sure if you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button, clicking the bell notification so you don't miss any of our content, and when you're done watching, hit the like button to help with the YouTube algorithm so it spreads our content across the platform. We fully appreciate you. And also, if you'd like to contact Robin Williams, our MSA GT7 promoter, for further details, the email links will be in the description below and on our YouTube home page. Okay, so Hugh, you gave your driver of the day to Richard. I think that is a good shout there, to be honest. Do you know what? I think I'm going to give it to Nutcap. You know, he's just 14 years old. He's also just recorded his first podium in the top tier. It was a brilliant strategy, and he performed absolute miracles out there. So I think it has to go to Nutcap. But let us know in chat who your driver of the day is, as I get the thoughts of Hugh in terms of the race coming up next week at Road Atlanta. What are your thoughts of that racetrack, and particularly in the Peugeot RCZ?
well, it's so fast, isn't it? And it's got some great curves over the hills, blind crests, blind turn-in points as well. So it's a real challenge getting the whole circuit. You know, you've got those different sectors to try and get those to join up is the key. And in the Group 3 cars, that is really, really fast as well. We tend to have that track with slower cars like the Mazda Miatas and things like that. So the Group 3s, they are going to be charging around there. Anything can happen, easy to make mistakes, track limits issues, lots of areas where mistakes can be made. I think it's going to be a fantastic race to watch. Of course, you've got the chicane at the bottom of the hill, very easy to go wide there, very easy to crash down there as well. Yep, I can't wait for that one. But yeah, it's going to be very, very fast. And can our drivers from tonight who made the podium, they're all keen to stay on that podium and get back there next week. But brilliant to see that the championship is so open and we're getting lots of different drivers up there in competitive times and showing their skills. So yeah, looking forward to Road Atlanta. A great track. Well, I have to say I do like it, and I can't wait to see it next week.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I can't wait for it either, Hugh. Certainly think it's going to be one to remember. Hugh, also as well, what have you got coming up for your YouTube channel, of course? Make sure everyone that's in chat, make sure you do hit that subscribe button as well for Hugh Hattrick, our podcaster for the SMA Stars, of course. But yeah, what's coming up for your channel, Hugh?
Well, I will definitely be streaming this week. I apologise that last week our StreamYard went down and we weren't able to do our live interviews, but we'll be doing that this week on Thursday evening, and I hope to do the time trial and also some of the races as well on a stream, probably on Thursday morning. So yes, we're busy house hunting at the moment. So tomorrow, Wednesday, will probably be a bit too busy. But Thursday, we'll be there for the new time trial and for races in the morning and our exclusive interviews in the evening. So please join us for that. It's going to be very exciting to get all our young new drivers, fresh faces on the interviews on Thursday night as well.
Cracking stuff, Hugh. Well, thank you so much for your company as per usual, Hugh. Hopefully you've enjoyed today, and yeah, of course you'll be back next week as well. So look forward to that.
Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Hugh. Thank you, Hugh. So it was VSR Richard who became the second driver to claim a victory in the MSA Cup 2025. Will it be Chaz and Richard that escape off into the distance to battle for the MSA Cup 2025 Championship, or will we have a new contender that will join the fray and battle for every point and every victory in the remaining part of the championship? Well, make sure you do tune in next week to find out. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on our very YouTube channel at the Sim Motorsport Association for Monday, and join us for Monday the 23rd of June at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Africa time. And from everyone in the MSA and SMA production team, a huge thank you for watching. Bye bye for now.